Hello folks, the Y Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very cold winter day. Obviously I'm doing this indoors. I let my dogs out this morning and it was 0 degrees on our back porch, and I'm sure it was a little colder even down the hillside. I'm committed to being outside doing videos outside, but somewhere I draw the line. Okay, 0 degrees, wow. Anyway, the name of this video is called The Y Guy Has Been Called a Pagan. Now, the reason I did this video is because I did a video recently of where I was quoting a senator or somebody running for a Senate in a Midwest state, and how he was claiming that he was going to hold these storytellers, journalists, so to speak, accountable for what they say. And I really appreciated his heart and what he was saying. And I did a video about that. You might want to look it up. Something about a political statement, political quote. That's what it was, a Y Guy political quote. Well, anyway, and how I'm going to hold, and I said in that video, I'm going to hold theologians accountable, biblical theologians accountable, okay, for the stories they tell. And because there's no excuse for ignorance anymore. Not with the internet at our fingertips, and Greek and Hebrew and Latin Bibles and Aramaic. Oh my goodness, we got everything we need. So we don't have to hold degrees to hold theologians accountable for what the stories that they're trying to tell us. And that's what this video is all about, because recently I was called a pagan on Facebook by a well-learned man who supposedly had a master's degree in biblical theology. Okay, now don't get me wrong, he didn't say it maliciously or as a put down to me. My new title that he assigned me, to him it was simply just a matter of fact. All right, and he was polite. All right, I got to give credit where credit is due, and I believe he was a kind man with a good heart. But I'm still going to hold what he said accountable in this video. And I said I was going to do this video on that video back then. Well, apparently, according to him, now only pagans believe in a God who would save and reconcile all. Isn't that interesting? With all of the Bible verses that say that, those exact words, he still felt it was paganistic belief. Wow. Anyway, as an uneducated man, speaking of myself, with no degrees in biblical theology, in context to that, I'm well educated. I do my own research because I've done my own homework and research into history and culture, and to discover how the word pagan was used in its original application. All right? And I can sum it up with one sentence, what I discovered. And it's interesting, but simply put, anyone who wasn't a Jew was called a pagan. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you want to boil it down to some simple terms, that's exactly what pagan meant. Now, so one has to ask, how did the Jews believe differently than their pagan neighbors? Makes sense, right? Now, among other minor issues, there was two major distinctions of how the Hebrew children thought of themselves versus a pagan. All right? And these two major distinctions were, one, they believed in one God. And two, they didn't have a belief in a torturous afterlife. Those were the two main things that separated them from paganism, because there were diverse beliefs within paganistic cultures, but the things in common that all and every pagan believed in were, you guessed it, multiple gods, and two, and it included a god of an underworld, netherworld, i.e. a hell. All pagans believed in those two things, multiple gods, and it sounds like three things, and a god of the underworld and an underworld, okay, a torturous underworld. Do you see the dichotomy here, the difference between what the Jews believed and what pagans believed? Now, this is actual cultural, historic fact. That's just how it is. Okay? So stay with me for a moment here about this, because how is it that a well-learned, degree-holding Bible student who holds on to a belief in a torturous underworld referred to as hell, as well as a ruler of that underworld, a god, okay, of that netherworld, referred to, given the name of Satan. And I'm the pagan? I mean, are you catching this? So, if it takes being a pagan to believe God is going to reconcile all of creation, yep, I'm a pagan. I'll go with that. If a pagan trusts God for a victorious outcome for all humanity, then I'm a pagan. If a pagan believes God is love and love doesn't keep an eternal record of wrong in a place called hell, then I'm a pagan. If a pagan tries to encourage everyone to walk in the Spirit, causing the acts of the flesh to just become powerless and irrelevant, which is what I try to do on these videos, then I'm a pagan. If it takes being a pagan to obtain a peace that passes all understanding, then I'm a pagan. You know, if a pagan believes the accomplishments of the Christ did not fail, he actually completed what he intended to do, then I'm a pagan. In closing, I don't know how many of my viewers, dating myself here obviously, for those who can remember, there was on television, there was a commercial, a Dr. Pepper commercial. It had a theme song. And I kind of, I'm a pagan, you're a pagan. Wouldn't you like to be a pagan too? Be a pagan, drink Dr. Pagan. Be a pagan, drink Dr. Pagan. You get that? Well, this kind of tickled my funny bone. Well, thanks for indulging me. If you are one of those Bible theologians who disagree with what I posted here on YouTube, please respond and be as polite as this gentleman did on Facebook, please. Otherwise, I will delete your comment, or I won't even allow it to be put on YouTube. And I don't mind disagreements, of course not. Goodness, we're all here to learn from each other, right? And what else? Oh yeah, consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. And give me a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind, if you appreciated what was shared. Look me up on Facebook under a private group called the Y Guy Group. I ask 3 questions for you to join that group. Please answer those questions. They're very simple, non-threatening questions, okay? And then I have a public timeline of an avatar name of Jonathan Jones. Look me up there. Thank you for viewing.